Mikel Maria Delgado, my go-to person for anything cat. So I read something, I don't, I'm sure it was some article in the lay press about cats' tails and what they
Hmm.
tell us. And then there's that clever cat's tails tell a tale. And I like your cat mug. And who is the cat behind you? One of your beloveds. Who is
Yes, that is Ruby.
Ruby? Ruby is really interested in what's going on outside. And her tail, by the way, is totally down and flaccid and flat. So if she were to see prey, would it change?
Sure. Yeah. And she's looking for a squirrel. There's a few things that happen in our front yard, including squirrels and sometimes a neighbor cat. So, yeah, I think tails are one indicator of a cat's mood, but we cannot exclusively rely on the tail necessarily to tell us everything that we need to know when we're interacting with a cat. But yeah, right now she's very chill and relaxed. If she saw a squirrel, her tail would probably start moving a little bit, twitching or
Would it?
waving.
Would it be
Yeah.
the tip that would twitch, not the entirety?
And the other thing too, and is that every cat's a little different, right? So every cat kind of has
Right.
a baseline, and she does move just the tip of her tail a lot more than the whole like swishy thing. But she will like if I come into a room and I say her name, she'll just lift her tail and put it back down.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? Like a
yeah, she's
wave. Hi,
expressive,
Mom.
almost like a wave. Yeah,
That's so sweet.
yeah,
I guess the other thing they do with their tails, before we talk about specific moods and emotional states, is that they balance with it.
sure,
It's part of
yes,
their
it's part of
balancing
their spine.
mechanism. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think people forget that it's actually a continuation of the spine and sensitive and can be. So, one of my other cats, actually, the tip of her tail was broken when we adopted her. We don't know how or when or if she was born that way, but she's got a little hook at the end of
Oh,
her tail, which is cute.
I didn't realize that they need it even when they're jumping up and off of something. It
Sure.
helps as ballast and as balance. And we had three cats that I got from what they called the Gattile in Italy when I had my house in
Hmm.
Tuscany, which is actually was a holding pen next to the crematorium. Oh, yeah, that's countryside anywhere in the
Mhm. Yeah.
countryside pet management. So we were going to get two, but then we're like, oh my God, we better take everyone we can. And we named them gray, red, and white because in Italian, because those were their colors. And they would hunt in the fields around my house, which shouldn't have been a problem, except for when the hunters of birds, little songbirds,
Hmm.
which have been almost completely eradicated by men in the Italian countryside. Not,
Mhm.
but they shot at her. She was white, so she stood out
Oh,
in
she stood out.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And uh, she came back limping and just all beat up. And we didn't know what had happened until we took her to the vet and saw all the buckshot in her.
Ugh.
But her tail never worked after that. It got some trouble getting up and, or it was awkward getting up and down off a couch
Yeah.
or a bed. So is that something that we should realize is part of their whole body? It is just
Yeah.
for their body.
Yeah. And of course, some cats are born without a tail. The
Right.
Manx the purebred Manx or the other cats that for whatever reason are not born with a complete tail. And I think when the cats are born that way from birth, they learn to compensate in their
Right.
balancing and jumping. But when they lose the function of their tail, it may be harder for them, may take more time for them to understand, like, oh, I have to navigate this
Right.
differently now because my tail doesn't work. Or, and we also have the cats, I don't know, I've only seen a couple that have the completely curled tail.
Yeah. What is that?
Yeah, that I think it's a genetic trait. Yeah, I've seen a couple of it's very cute. It's just like stays mostly wound up next to
Wow.
them. But there was one study of those cats. It was a very small study because that is a very like that's not a very common trait, but they found that
Right.
those cats were able to like communicate with other cats
Just as
still
well.
without their tail. So you don't the tail is important, but you can do all the cat things you need to do without a tail, right? Or without the same tail. So I think that's another important indicator that we can't just rely on the tail to give us information about a cat's emotional state. So I always say, look at the individual body parts, look at the whole body, and then also look at the context or what's happening in the environment. If she saw a squirrel, her behavior would be very different and it would be explained by the presence of the squirrel, not because she was like necessarily upset or that her ears would tell me more than her tail. It's like you have to look at the big picture too.
It's a lot of hieroglyphics that we have to read, or Morse code,
It
whatever way
is,
you want to look at it.
yeah, and I think maybe that's why people find cats hard to understand. But of course, we know the same is true for dogs too, right? Their individual body
Right.
parts change and their facial expressions and their eyes and their ears and their tails. So we just have to learn, we have to practice and be observant.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing is that it's information we can take in that
Yeah.
sometimes we're ignoring. I guess everyone knows the kind of flag tail where the tail
Sure.
is right up in there.
Yeah.
That's usually hello, greeting you
Yes.
at the door or
Yes.
somewhere. And it's okay, my flag is up, I'm flying my flag, and anything goes.
Yeah, I like to say too, it's a indicator of friendly behavior. So when cats do that to each other, it's saying, I come in peace, right? So we like to see the tail up. And sometimes the little tip is a little like in a question mark shape, but that's a friendly, happy sign. Whereas a tail tucked would be more indicative of fear, a cat who's trying to make themselves smaller. Those are tail things that we
Yeah,
can identify. Sometimes it's like the swishing and then like different rates of swishing and just the
yes, right,
twitching is harder for people to understand. You may see, of course, piloerection where the tail is completely
right.
puffed. And that happens in my household if they see the neighbor kitty.
Oh yeah,
Tail gets
yeah,
poofy, or if there's a
big,
sudden noise that startles them. So that's usually an indicator
yeah.
of like alarm or fear. It could be excitement in some cases. So again, you have to look at the context and what else is going on. But of course, movement is probably certainly when people are petting their cat, if the
I was
cat's
just going to bring
tail
that up.
starts
Yeah,
changing.
yeah, you should maybe take your hand away for a bit because that's like the equivalent of a growl in a dog. I'm telling you, had enough, as
Sure.
opposed to my cat just bit me out of the blue. No, all this information by Morse code with their tail and maybe
Yes.
their ears are flattened down, but that information, that's not a wagging tail like a
No, it's not a sign of happiness or
right.
excitement. It could be irritation. And yeah, so I would say,
Crabby. I always think of it as crabby.
sure.
I'm feeling
But
crabby.
And it's not even that. It's like that we've petted them more than is typical for
Enough.
them as a species. And so for us to label it as crabby is a little,
You're right.
we're the ones that are in the wrong, right? So we're not paying attention and we're petting
Right.
them more than is normal for them as a species because they like brief, frequent, low intensity contact. And we like to get in a petting fest.
That would definitely be us, the humans. Yes,
Yes.
we've made them crabby. Let's be clear.
Yes.
They aren't just having a bad day. We've
And
just
sometimes
made,
they want to just sit on your lap without you touching them. And
yes,
that's a very hard concept for us to accept. So if the cat is on your lap or near you and you're petting them and the tail starts moving, take a break. Just take
yeah,
a little break. Let them sit near you and just don't touch them.
yeah. Find something else to do with your fingers, like your phone or some awful.
There's lots of those fidget spinners or there's all kinds of things that are tactile that may
That's
help
funny.
people. And
Yeah,
yes,
because we all need that release, but we really can't view our cats as our anxiety or stress or even joy release. They've got
unless they're very tolerant of petting. And certainly some cats really
there's
do
some of
enjoy a lot of petting. The tail is one sign that you can look to tell you if they've had enough.
the main thing is it is an information gathering item. So you should pay attention to it. The tail
Absolutely.
tell you the tale. Thank you, Michael Maria Delgado. Always great to talk to you.
Thanks, Tracy.